We're on. This is us.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
No, this isn't. Sorry, this isn't. This is us. This is the Retro Ranger.
Well,
this is us as a different show. It's not.
It could
us.
be us. We could all just start crying.
This is just all over my head.
So,
is this The Last of Us?
Start crying right now.
Nope, that's a video game.
That is probably one of my top 5 video games of all time.
Is it really?
It really is.
Stories.
I haven't watched the trailer for the second one yet, but we'll be getting to that. But we are the Retro Ranger wrap up, and this is.
Yeah, this is.
I'm Elle. Yo, over here is Josh, and down here is the BSG. Holla at ya boy, Battlestar Galactica. I don't know. There's a lot of things.
All right, do your thing.
Close enough. Oh, me? I can do it now?
Go ahead.
Holla at your boy. It's me, the BSG. That's right, Battlestar Galactica, a.k.a. Well, I can go with no, you know what?
It's Pride Month, man. Today's the 30th. It's the anniversary of Stonewall. Give us your best Bicon shout-out.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's right. You can't say what's up to the Bicon. That's me. So you can say that and see how that works out. But, yeah, I'm just here. Perpetuator of petty. I do it all.
It's true. It is true. I'm so sorry. So last week we were having some major tech issues. Wi-Fi was not
random issues
working, but we are here. We are back in the studio. We are practicing social distancing. I do have my mask. We're not wearing it for this, but yeah. How have you guys in the chat been? It's been
2 weeks now since we've seen you guys last.
Yeah, last week was terrible, and we are 1 week away from our finishing up Power Rangers in Space.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited. I know we briefly touched on these episodes last week before the internet canceled us.
Yeah, that was rough.
Like legit canceled. But I wasn't a fan.
Should we just jump into it? Before something maybe terrible happens, should we just get into these episodes and we can do our banter at the end? We have 2 episodes this week. One was the Impenetrable Web, I believe, and the second one was Car Chasing Doom. I'm sorry. I don't have my notes. I don't have my computer today. I am so sorry. We should have. Let's talk about the Impenetrable Web because that was the first one.
Yeah. So the first one. So I don't know how many of you guys outside of me and Donnie Pearson are familiar with Star Trek, but this episode was.
I am. It started off like a Star Trek episode.
Yeah. So the title itself, the whole premise of the show, is based on an original episode series called the Tholian Web, where the Enterprise is stuck in this energy web by an alien force. So this episode started off. Alpha is playing 3-dimensional chess with Decca, so that's also a direct reference to Star Trek right there. So I was really excited going into these. I thought, okay, we're gonna get a classic Star Trek type. Homage type episode, but that was it. Outside of that energy web and the chess thing at the beginning, this episode just kind of went in a super random direction for me. There was a lot of things I just didn't understand. There's one point when they're down on the planet, and Zhane comes in and helps them defeat the villain.
Zhane comes in randomly. Is he part of the Power Rangers team or is he not? I want him to be part of the Power Rangers team, but I know he's helping the community from KO35 reestablish, whatever.
But we have no idea what's going on with the people on KO35 now.
Yeah, the last time we saw them, I think open communication between the Power Rangers and him, either or Decca's not really keeping him informed, or it's just last minute came to save the day. DSS Machina, here I am, Silver Ranger in my new car.
But okay, so things that I didn't understand from this episode. After they're they go to the planet on their boards.
Yes.
And they're morphed. They're all in their Power Ranger outfits.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're not. And it seems like they're not able to morph because they tell Zhane that he has to go and defeat Ecliptor after he goes and he finds the Delta Zord.
Yes.
Why weren't they able to go and do that?
Web.
But how did he get there?
Can't penetrate the web unless you're the Silver Spider Ranger.
Wait, I thought he wasn't on the ship when the web.
He wasn't. He came from somewhere else. But
He was. None of them were on the ship while it was in the web. Only Alpha was on the ship. They were down on the planet. So
they got kicked out onto the planet. They were. I feel like they were on there, right? And then they got kicked out, and then they were just transported to that planet.
Were they?
See, none of us watched it. For those of you in the chat, please school us. We are fake fans here.
Like there were a lot of things that happened, like in a very short period of time that just kind of. It felt like I felt like there were things missing. Like it felt like there should have been scenes there that just didn't.
The transitions were really weird, and I feel like even if you're paying pretty hardcore attention, you just have to accept that these are the series of events that is occurring.
Honestly, I agree because the answer to the question of how did they get from like the ship down to the planet, I don't remember.
You just assume they teleported there, right?
Remember. I just love the fact that they had some out of the suit fighting, kind of like, oh man, hey, here goes, they're on location and they're fighting, and we're actually seeing them fight. So it was like, oh yeah, this was pretty cool.
Right.
Besides
The blur says that Ecliptor snuck on board,
but that was after. So the Rangers are gone, and that's why Alpha was able to do the one-on-one with Ecliptor. And
right.
Let's be real, Alpha doesn't stand a chance, man. I don't know how Alpha survived.
I mean, he almost got him out the airlock.
Yeah, that was pretty clever. That was pretty clever.
My problem was, it was like, okay, here we go, Home Alone. This is what we're getting. And it just feels to me like that kind of lowers Alpha, in my opinion. He has to do this whole Home Alone thing. Where
he has to come up with the traps and...
Yeah.
I mean, that stuff, honestly, those little bits with him and Ecliptor on the ship, I was fine with that. Like, that didn't bother me. I think what bothered me was just that, like I said, with Zhane showing up on the planet, helping them out, and then them sending him to defeat Ecliptor instead of going with him, because couldn't they have just gone with him in whatever mode of transportation he used to get there? And they had their hoverboard, so they could have just like flown through space on the boards.
Okay, so the blur says they found the location of the Mega Voyager, which has been missing, and we actually are going to lose a Zord in this episode.
Right.
That was my biggest takeaway. We had that in Mighty Morphin, where you see the Zords get destroyed. Like, that was pretty traumatic. I feel like in this particular episode, though, I wasn't that sad. I feel like I didn't build a relationship with the Zords. I don't feel like any of the team had that kind of symbiotic relationship with the Zords in this, so it was a little lackluster, but I'm still sad. Like, they're down a robot.
Like I feel like this was obviously an episode that was setting up the season finale.
Of course.
I just feel like it rushed through it, and in doing so created a bunch of plot holes that just didn't make any sense. Because again, still what's his name? Christopher Camberley's character. Andros.
It's only been an entire season.
And I mean, we still haven't seen anything from Zordon. They haven't talked about Zordon. I know he's coming up, but we still don't know what's going on with him.
And also, how are they going to get Astronema to convert back to being good?
Well, I think she's still evil until at some point in Lost Galaxy.
Oh, interesting.
I think.
See, I was hoping that maybe she's like playing like, hey, I'm going to get rid of like, what's his name? Not Dark Honda. Dark Spectre. And like do all of this stuff and reveal that she is good. I feel like that is a Power Ranger thing. But it's interesting if she does remain evil and they're not trying to figure out a way to win Astronema over.
Right, yeah,
they're still just battling her. I feel like the gameplay would be, instead of going shopping and doing all this other stuff, is like, hey, we know your sister. She is good. Like, they've obviously done something to reprogram her. They did some Clockwork Orange things. Let's try to figure out a way to bring her back. But they seem like okay battling her, and it's a weird thing.
But then Andros is still the only one that uses the Battleizer armor.
Yeah.
Once
more, because they made him buff and they had the suit, right? So they had to use it at least one more time.
But why wouldn't they all want access to that?
Because it might drain their powers, and I don't know. Andros is a leader, so he's willing to
take
that risk. I would assume like Zhane would have that too, but he's like not even really part of the crew, and I want him to be there. He's such a cutie patootie. Like, I want him to be part of the team. Like, he could be the new Tommy, and they were underutilizing him. There was a lot of there's a lot to like about this season. Like, I mean, next week we'll do. I'm thinking briefly, like, just to talk about, because Thomas Franco was asking about what our plans are for starting Lost Galaxy. Okay. So I want to ask both of you guys about this before we start talking about.
Hold on, hey, I'm sorry, guys. I just have to let you know right now. Big important moment right now. Thomas Franco had something to say, and he says, "Wrong, L. Astronema turns good. at the end of In Space.
God, he's a spoiler.
Correct. So what I want to remind you, Elle, is that Thomas Franco doesn't listen to any of us when we say, hey, stop spoiling it for us. Let us watch the show. Thomas, man, seriously.
Well, see, then,
you're getting to a point,
then I'm not wrong.
You're getting
I'm
to a point where I'm going to become the judge of this show.
He's proven my point.
Kind of
I said she wanted to be good, and she's going to be good, so suck it, Josh. Josh is the one that was wrong.
The information I looked at online was wrong.
Fake fans. I want to be like Daniel. Yeah. I'm going to start looking at him. Does this look okay if I'm looking at Daniel?
I'm glad.
I've been noticing that. We have a different setup today because we are in the studio. I know some of you mentioned that we have blank walls. Guess what? We are working on having a fantastic background. Producer Josh is going to be building us a fantastic set. Make sure to tell all your friends about it so we can get some more views. And the more views that we get, the more money that we have to fund our building up our blank walls.
Also, off topic for just a moment, later this week, I'm going to be interviewing the cast and the creators of the Twitch show Artificial. I don't know if any of you guys have seen that. If you have, and you have questions for the cast or the creator, head over to our Twitter. I posted about it on there. Post your questions in that thread and give me some stuff to ask them. I'm halfway through the first season already, and it's pretty good. All right, back to this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for those of you in the chat, if you just want to give it a quick rating, let us know. The Impenetrable Web. Do you guys have anything else to talk? Because I didn't really like this one.
This episode, it just kind of it is what it is. Like there's not much. Like it moved the plot along to where it needed to be.
And where does it need to be? It's just getting rid of the Megazord.
Getting rid of the Megazord so that when Lost Galaxy starts, they have a whole new thing.
Which is fine.
So while you guys are giving us your ratings in the chat there, Elle and Daniel, I want to ask you this. So next week is going to be the finale. We're going to talk about the last two episodes.
Yeah.
I do want to take a short break between this and starting Lost Galaxy. We're going to make a few changes to the way we run the show. Joe and I have been discussing a lot of Patreon stuff that we want to tie in. So I feel like we're going to take a week or maybe two off. But the next week, after we talk about the finale, do we want to talk about the season as a whole? Or do we want to make that part of that final stream?
I don't know. I guess maybe either way. I'm so sorry, guys. I probably won't be here for the finale. I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, that's right. So maybe we should do it the following week.
Yeah, if we want to do maybe like a retrospective on Space and Power Rangers up to this point, because this is your first season joining us.
Right, yeah. That's a good idea.
Daniel and I have been here since Mighty Morphin, and Joe too. So Joe would actually have a lot of insights next week for you guys for the finale. And we'll see. Hopefully we can have some surprises for you, but we're working on that. And then we can do a retrospective the week after and maybe take a week.
I like that. Okay. So as of right now, the plan is going to be next week. We'll talk about the finales. Elle will be off gallivanting around doing her own stuff.
Yeah. I may not. I don't know. Plans up in the air. It's 4th of July weekend.
If she is not here, Joe will probably be in to step in. And then the following week after that, we'll do a Power Rangers clip show type thing, I guess.
Maybe like the best and worst moments so far, which would be pretty good. Best and worst villains. I really like the villains in this season so far. Their character designs are fantastic. The story is a lot better at this. You guys were right. Space is one of the best seasons of Power Rangers that I've seen so far.
You know, honestly, like this is skipping way ahead. I've watched a couple of the recent episodes of Beast Morphers.
Yeah.
I really like Beast Morphers.
I mean, the production value is
what I've seen of it so far, like just like as storytelling, I feel like again, just because of the format of the show, I feel like it's really condensed, and that they could probably do better if they had like a full hour instead of a half-hour episode. But it's everything is paced a lot better now.
Interesting. I would like that, and like one thing. Actually, we'll talk about this on the retrospective about what I hope for. But yeah, for the people in the chat, like Daniel, what did you rate the impenetrable web that was eventually pretty penetrable? I like that word.
Good question. For myself, honestly, I think this episode got a 4. because I enjoyed the fact that they did a lot of just like non-Toei footage. They did everything pretty much that was like Saban footage. A lot of the episode until we had to get to a Zord fight. But we did it, and then we dismantled the Zords, kind of like, we're just, hey, we're losing. And that was the thing. It was like, oh my gosh, we are losing, and I'm seeing it gradually. And it kind of, stirred up some worries, some thoughts. So I liked that episode for that. But in a lot of ways, it wasn't so great. So take one away. It was a 5, bringing it down to a 4.
Okay. I mean, I kind of agree with that. Like, I am obviously biased. I like Zhane's character. I like his suit color. I just wish he was more integrated into the group. I always feel like he comes out of left field once he went to go help the community of KO35.
Right.
I just want him to be more part of the group. So when he comes to save the day, I feel like it's almost
a
little
car.
bit. Yeah. I mean, I like
they
the car
introduced
too.
3 episodes before the end. 4 episodes before the end.
And it reminds me a little bit of Elon Musk. What's his?
The Cybertruck?
Yeah, the Cybertruck a little bit.
I kind of want a Cybertruck.
The Cybertruck I think looks cool. I don't know. I'm into, that whole, what do you call it? Not punk. What do you call it?
Like cyberpunk?
Dystopian.
Dystopian. Mad. It looks like something out of Mad Max.
Yeah. I mean, I like that kind of thing. So Zhane is one of my favorites. I just wish he was more integrated. I wish they found a better way to work him into this episode. But it is building up to the end. You get that sense, like Daniel said, of urgency. The whole Zords are being destroyed. You can't use them. They are failing. So I'm actually going to agree with Daniel. I'm giving it a 4.
Interesting. I'm gonna be the odd man out again. I'm gonna give it a 2.5.
Okay.
I couldn't get past those weird plot holes. Like for me, just the fact that they were like, Zhane, you have to go and you have to defeat Ecliptor, even though they didn't. There was no indication of why they couldn't morph and go and help him. Like and then just again the thing with the battleizer. Like if that's such an important thing now, why haven't any of the rest of them tried to use it? Unless that's going to be a thing that they all do in the finale, maybe?
Well, maybe they're just waiting for little, what's her name, Sophie to touch the button. Maybe they were obviously never trained. Like, Andros knew what that was because he was the original Rangers from space. None of these Rangers, they're probably like, I just always hit these buttons and I don't want to explode, so I'm not going to test punching anything else out of the ordinary, So maybe they don't even know that they have buff abs underneath their suit. I would definitely use them, though.
Yeah, exactly.
If I could get abs, I'd hit that button all the time.
Seriously, as soon as I saw Andros do that, I would have been like, wait, what's that button combination?
Right?
Let me give that a try.
Haven't been to the gym in how many months? I'm ready to get some soul.
I try and do that and just like take the helmet off and then put my regular day clothes on over top of the Power Ranger outfit.
Like Superman style, so you can be like, I have abs. I'm like TJ. Right. I have these under here.
Like, look, this is America's ass right here.
Well, they're not America. They are in space.
Rangers. Oh, yeah.
They are the Milky Way galaxy.
Milky Way's. Yeah, this is the Milky Way's ass right here.
So how about in the chat? What does everyone rate this episode? I'm kind of curious because we are on 2 different spectrums.
So it looks like we are starting our ratings with the Blur, who looks like he's more along the lines of where I'm at. He gives it a 0.02.
Pretty low.
Not quite a 0, but almost. Mikey Nerd Talk gives it a 2.5. Jonathan gives it 3.5 because Alpha and Deco were actually useful in this episode.
It is true.
Jared Hodges gives it a 3. Mikey Nerd Talk says season as a whole. Mikey Nerd Talk,
don't do it.
Clarify this for me if you can. Are you saying that the season as a whole you're giving a 2.5, or was that in relation to something else? Let's see what else we got here. Larry Newbill gives it a 3. Jezer says that this is almost his favorite season. Donnie Pearson gives it a 3.3 out of 4 lightning bolts for the episode.
Lightning bolt.
Blur, I will come back to that question after we're done here with the ratings. Thomas Franco gives it a 4.5. Donnie Pearson gives it a 4 out of 4. And it looks like that might be it. So yeah, so it looks like
really was all over
like
the
a
place.
Mixed. Yeah, very very mixed. Yeah. So the Blur was asking if I watched the UK episodes that have aired of Beast Morphers yet. Those are the ones that those are the only ones from Beast Morphers that I've actually seen so far. Was I think it was I haven't seen the most recent ones, but the ones surrounding the crossover with Brennan and all those cats.
Okay, I have zero reference. I think I watched maybe the first 3 episodes of Beast Morphers when it came on, and then kind of just dropped off. I like doing it like this. I love having these conversations, even though it's going to take us like 20 years to get to Beast Morphers from where we are right now.
I mean, we got through this season fairly quickly. We started this in January, February, right?
Yeah, I think maybe the end of January. We're taking kind of a quick holiday break and then getting back together to do this.
So more or less 4 months to get through the full season.
Yeah.
It's not too bad.
And we were only doing 2 episodes for this. We usually typically do 3, but In Space has been such a great season that we wanted to break it out, spend more time with it, and we are already almost done.
Yeah. So that's another thing. I think we were talking about this before too. So you guys don't need to answer now, but think about we'll discuss this either next week or with the season retrospective the following week. When we get into Lost Galaxy, do you want us to do 2 or 3 episodes at a time, or do you want us to stick to more, like do maybe 3 episodes at a time and then story arcs? Like every time that we have a story arc, do the whole story arc in one go, or if it's like 7 episodes or whatever, I don't know how long they are. Maybe split that into 2.
We'll figure that out next week. Yeah. We'll let everyone else kind of tell us what
mull
they
that over
want,
and think about it.
And what we'll do right now is talk about the next episode.
I liked this next episode better than the previous one.
All right. So the next episode is called...
This next episode, I can tell you in just a second. I've got it written down right here. It is A Line in the Sand.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not called Carrie.
No. You're actually thinking of Christine.
Oh, the car.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. That's it. That's what I'm thinking about. Christine. It just wasn't a red car. It was a big Arnold Schwarzenegger Hummer.
I mean, I liked the whole idea of this episode. Like like a horror themed episode just kind of works for me.
And it was there was this Twilight Zone episode that was about the cars with the flashing and it like follows you around, and we got a little more of Ashley and Andros that they are in a relationship. We very rarely get to see any relationships actually like building in Power Rangers, so I like that.
The one thing that's weird to me, I'm gonna ask both of you guys this.
All right.
What's the fucking point of hopscotch? At the very beginning of this episode,
they're going through
Ashley and Andrews are walking down the street. But very obviously an ominous type thing going on there. But they stop when they come across these kids that are playing hopscotch. And like, I know I used to play it when I was a kid, but I don't understand what the point of the game is.
Well, because you want to get to the end, because usually you had like paper clips or something that you would throw, and you would have to skip over any of the squares that had paper clips.
But is that supposed to be a hard thing to do?
Yeah, so if you're playing with 3 people and you're a kid and you're jumping on one foot, and say the first 3 blocks are... have paper clips in them. You have to jump to the 2.
Okay, so
it makes it different with the group that you're playing with.
you add each person tosses the thing on.
Yeah, so it's one of those things, kind of like Sorry or whatever. You have to jump over the people that are already there. So, or that's how it was played back in my day. Right. I don't know how it is now. Do you kids even have hopscotch? Do you even have a playground at school? I don't know what it is. We don't even have playgrounds. Coronavirus, right?
Right. Exactly. Like I was just watching that thing with them playing hopscotch. I was like, I don't understand what the point of this game is.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you throw the little paper clips and you hop over them. I don't know.
So the blur says that he never understood jacks.
Because you throw it and you have to swoop him and pick him up before the ball hits the ground a second time.
Right. That one I understand. You bounce the ball as you go to catch it. You have to pick up as many jacks as you can, catch the ball all in one shot.
And if you ever had the new jacks that were super sharp, and you grab that too hard, you're too, I don't know, enthusiastic about picking up the jacks, you're going to have like several punctures in your hand. Because they're made out of metal.
Why when they make new ones, you're thinking it's supposed to be new and improved? Why is it new and dangerous?
Well, they have plastic ones now. Like, they don't have the metal ones. Or I saw ones that were made out of plastic, so...
Like, I think the ones that I played with, they had like the tips always had like balls, like little balls on them.
Yeah, around the tips.
Yeah.
All right, I got the knockoffs from some foreign country then.
You were playing with caltrops.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Those are the things you throw out the back of your car to pop the tires on the car behind you.
I might have been, because I remember like multiple times just being like, they're stuck in my hands. They're definitely weapons. They're like ninjas. They're like ninja stars or something.
You got it from your uncle, who's like a secret agent. He's like, here, prefer these. I don't know.
All right, so back to this episode. So the Humvee was capturing the Rangers and transporting them to like another dimension or another planet or something.
Yeah.
Is that kind of?
Yeah, like got caught in their like headlights and it's transported.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the best way to describe it. You are 100% accurate on what this is.
So like I was good with all that, and then I just kind of felt like the end kind of like fluttered out. Like it was a great build up, but then it didn't pay off.
It feels to me like watching like this entire episode was shot just so they could use that Sentai footage, because that monster had nothing to do with a Hummer. Like literally, I looked at the monster and I was like, that doesn't even resemble a Hummer at all. Like, what is happening here? Like, it made no sense to me. But I loved the episode up to then. And I thought, oh, we're not going to have any Sentai footage. No Toei footage. It's going to be all Saban. That's what I thought. And I was like, oh, it's going to be an episode where we have no Zords. Nope. It was like, oh, did you want no Zords? Take the Zord in your face. Oh, what? Did you want no Toei footage? Enjoy that, too. It was like, man, you guys are ruining it for me.
Oh, the blur says that this was the same. So this was the same desert from the previous episode.
I mean,
of course it was.
But then, how did they get back down to Earth when they were fighting the monster in his giant form?
Teleported.
Like that was, or was that Earth, or was that a different planet?
No, it was Earth. You saw it. They had buildings and everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute, how did we get back to? Oh, that's right, Power
Magic.
Yeah, teleportation powers.
It's Power Rangers, man. Yeah. I mean, we already accepted. We're done with it.
Well, it's kind of like from Mighty Morphin. Every time Rita threw her magic staff down, and went, "Make my monster grow!" It always landed in the exact same spot, no matter where the fight was.
So where it was on Earth, it landed in the same spot and made the monster grow. That's Power Ranger magic, man.
But they were always in Angel Grove, so that kind of made sense. That somewhere, like, you assume that spot is Angel Grove, and the monsters are, always there. But I don't know. I just felt like the whole haunted Hummer thing that should have been back in Turbo. I feel like it didn't really fit in space. I wish it was some kind of like space themed thing that they were dealing with, because I mean, they are on Earth, but I don't know. I just felt like that was so last season. I don't know. It wasn't my favorite.
I can get that. Like I said, I think I thought that I enjoyed this episode more than the previous one because I thought that the premise was good.
Okay.
It just could have been executed. Like most of my issues that I've had with the episodes this season was the execution. Like it just felt like it kind of fell flat there when they were resolving it. And then at the end, it was kind of the same thing again. It's like, okay, they're fighting this monster right now. We have one less Zord again.
Yeah.
I mean, we did all this just so we could lose an arm and say, oh nope, it's gone, it's dead, and that's it. It was like, sometimes it felt like, okay, you're dragging me through this. As the other times, it was like, oh, this is interesting. But then they drop the ball halfway through and give us, once again, the Zord battle that I was just not impressed with. I can't say it enough. I wasn't impressed with the Zord battle. I loved what I was getting with the Rangers. I did not like at all what I was getting with the Zords.
And, it's kind of funny because usually I complain that the Zord fights take up way too much of the episode so that we don't get as much story. We just get them like in the Zord. And this one I felt like they went the opposite direction. Like you were saying, the Zord fight, it just seemed like it was like...
Thrown in there.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we fight the monster, now our Zord is destroyed. Darn.
Well, then they did have that moment where it was like, okay, a missing arm. So they grabbed it and they flew into space. And I was like, oh, God, what am I watching? Come on, seriously. But then when they both blew up, I was like, oh my God. Like, all of a sudden I cared again. So I was like, you got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, to me, this kind of felt like almost an average episode.
Hey, look, I'm sorry. Out of nowhere, just literally showed up and was like, "Hey, what's going on?"
Puppy.
I'm gonna jump over to the chat for just a moment here. Blur, going back to Jax again. Oh wait, no, that was the same comment. Just they never understood Jax. Thomas Franco actually brings up something that we're going to start doing.
Okay.
I'm not going to reveal how we're doing this just yet. But for the Patreon and for our patrons, we are working on bringing back the watch-alongs for episodes of Power Rangers. So we're going to try launching this with Lost Galaxy. It's probably going to be through Discord instead of through the Netflix party. That way we can kind of tie it into the Patreon and get all that going. So stay tuned for future information about that, which should be coming in the next week and a half, 2 weeks now.
And you can follow us on patreon.com/ is it the Illuminerdi?
Cosmic Protectors.
It's still under Cosmic Protectors.
Yeah, Cosmic Protectors.
Okay.
So we're, in case you weren't here a couple of weeks ago when I was talking about this, we're shifting the Patreon over to be more general Power Rangers content. So Cosmic Protectors is still at the forefront, and that's what we're focusing the money that you guys are supporting us with too. But in order to give you more content and more things for your patronage, we are going to start focusing on more Power Rangers stuff so that we have more things to give you.
We are still working on that. I know we were talking about releases and everything, but with the world going up in flames for a little bit, we are postponing that. It is still happening. We still have everything working on it.
We've started re-recording some of the audio. We've changed some of the art a little bit. So there's a lot of exciting things that you guys will be able to see soonish. Let's see. Jonathan says some of the Rangers were already on Earth. So because there were a couple of them that didn't get captured by the Humvee.
Yeah.
That does kind of make sense that they were transported back to Earth for the fights. So when all of them were together. So that does make sense. Blackwing says that the Megazord destructions are more of spectacles. It's sad, but it's just kind of for the wow factor, which kind of makes sense.
It does, but I feel like some of the other seasons just did it better with them, like actually like breaking apart. The Rangers are super sad watching them being sucked down into lava, and like I don't know. I don't know if I'm just jaded. Am I already jaded? And we are only at Power Rangers in space. I kind of want more spectacle. I want it to be more devastating.
My thing how they keep losing the Zords, I'm concerned because, all right, we lost one Zord, we lost another Zord. It's like, okay, nothing really is big about this or connecting us to it. But if they lose this last Zord, that means they're also losing Deca, someone that we've been introduced to and connected to.
Yeah.
So if they do lose it, I need to see them more in Deca. And maybe that's where that kind of feeling or that connection will come in, because the other ones, like, remember way back in Power Rangers original, when the Zords fell into the lava, they all of a sudden were kind of sentient. You know, like you saw the dragon, the elephant one was like, it was like, oh my God, they're melting, like they're right now we're helping them, they're literally dying right here, you know. And then we've had other ones where they like blew up and stuff like that. So I think we'll have higher stakes if they lose Deca.
That's actually a really good point. I kind of did not think about that, because you're right. The other Zords were sentient, kind of like, the Dragon Zord. Tommy didn't ever need to pilot it. So you kind of forget that sometimes, like, they're machines. You don't really care. And you're right. That's why they were kind of building up Alpha and Deca in that last episode to kind of raise the stakes, which I do like that episode even more. It makes me like this episode a little bit more now that you explain it like that. A little bit more. Yeah, my rating has just gone up in my head.
All right, so
I mean, that has been Alpha's concern.
I'm gonna keep going through some of the chat here while I'm going through more messages in the chat. Why don't you guys in the chat that are watching here give us your ratings for the episode, and then we'll come back around and give you ours. Jared Hodges says that he likes where he likes that the Rangers were captured by the Hummer, and then the Hummer itself is what turned into the monster rather than it being a monster.
Yeah. Which
I do kind of like. The Hummer was the monster.
But it's still like, where are these monsters coming from? Are they created? Do they exist like this? Are they aliens? Like, I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter. Power Rangers, right? But
let's see. The Blur says that he now has the money to do the super mega tier on the Patreon. Hold off on doing that. Because we're actually going to be changing all the tiers are changing. We have all new tiers that are coming with all new rewards. So some of the rewards that we had up there are staying. but there's also some brand new stuff that's replacing a lot of the stuff that was there. So keep your eye out for that. I just don't want to take down the old ones yet, so that you guys still kind of see what's going on there. Let's see. Donnie Pearson is taking off because he's got to go work on some of the SoundCloud stuff. So we will see you next time,
luck
Donnie.
with your composing stuff.
And let's go to the ratings. The Blur gives it a 3. Thomas Franco gives it a 3.5. Jonathan gives it a 4. Jared Hodges gives it a 4. Larry Newbill gives it a 3. Mikey Nerdtalk gives it a 4. Blackwing gives it a 4. So this episode, it seems like, is a little bit more consistent. Yeah. People liked this one a little bit better than the last one. What about you, Elle? What did you...
Originally, I was going to give it a 3. I didn't really see the build up with the Zords being destroyed. I like Daniel's point of view, saying that like Decca, they're going to lose like that ship, her influence and guidance. Also, that's kind of like Andros's tie to like everything, how he's been searching for his sister this entire time. So I'm guessing they built some sort of kinship. That is actually pretty high stakes. And because of Daniel, it was originally a 3 rating. I'm going to be giving it a 4.
Well, Larry Newbill does the same thing. He actually just said, never mind. I'm going to give it a 4 because the Hummer is nice.
Okay. The Hummer.
Daniel?
Well, I'm giving this episode definitely a 4. It's not 5 worthy. I think the next 2 will possibly be 5 worthy, so I don't want to just, here it is, and blow up dynamite, and then I have nothing to, do with. So I'm definitely giving this episode a 4. I did like it, but I can't just, boom, here goes my 5. So
because it's a build-up. It's a build-up with no payoff yet, so once the payoff happens, if it happens, might change the rating.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. I'm going to give it a 3. 3.5. So
right.
somewhere maybe 3 1/4. Can I do that? 3.25.
All right. I mean, we're doing decimals.
All right.
It's great.
Right.
You do whatever you want.
So I loved the premise for the episode. I thought it was really cool to have it be a little bit darker. I just wish they had stuck with that throughout the episode because it just as it progressed, it just kind of went down a little bit. But if it kept that level from that it had at the beginning, I think I would really liked this episode a little bit better.
But yeah, I guess that about wraps it up for us this week. Next week is the last 2 episodes of Power Ranger in Space. This has been a phenomenal season for Power Rangers, especially I say all the time. Season.
Oh, I see what you did there.
I like that, but especially coming off of Turbo.
I think I'm frozen. No, okay, I'm good. Go ahead, keep going. I'm sorry.
But yeah, it's one of those things where it's fun. I'm kind of sad because everyone was talking up this season. I think budget was super great. Character development was a lot better than previous seasons. I'm kind of sad to see it go, to be honest, especially knowing that there are some crappy seasons up ahead of us based off of the comments that you guys have been saying. I don't know which ones exactly. But yeah, I don't know.
Someone said a little bit up somewhere up the chat that they think that you're gonna like Lost Galaxy.
I hope so. I mean, I try to find something to like in all of them. The Alien Rangers was definitely a low one for me, and Turbo was definitely a low one for me. So we'll see. But I mean, I love Zeo. I love Space. Mighty Morphin was nostalgia for me, so I can't not like it.
Right.
So so far, Power Rangers has been on the up and up, and I'm kind of curious to see where it'll
me too. Because I mean, again, I don't really remember a lot of the previous seasons of Power Rangers. I started rewatching Mighty Morphin a couple of years ago, or maybe last year, and I remember it just being fun. Not necessarily, probably with the nostalgia thing. The episodes weren't necessarily the best, but they were just fun to watch.
Yeah.
Because it was hokey, so I was just like, all right, that's the thing that's buying into. But from what I've seen about Lost Galaxy, I really think I am going to like that season. I feel like it's from what everyone's saying, it sounds like it's going to feel different than the previous seasons that we've been watching.
That's true. And Blair also mentions that if we do a retrospective, we should bring Corey into the conversation. Let's go ahead and ask him if he wants to be on that.
Yeah,
he has a lot of insight into Power Rangers. You guys see him on the Ranger wrap-up, so I think that would be super fun. Yeah. If he's able to come down, he lives pretty far, so...
I mean, I can always Skype him in, too.
That's true.
We can always Skype him in.
Hey, that makes sense.
If his internet's working.
If our internet is working.
Our internet's working, yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, I think that's going to do it for us for this week. So again, just to wrap it up, make sure that you are following us on social media at _Illuminerdi on Twitter, _Illuminerdi on Instagram. Really, if you just search the Illuminerdi and look for our logo, which you see here on our YouTube channel, you'll be able to find us. I'm not sure when I'll be hopping onto Twitch next. I'm hoping to get on sometime this week. I got to study for those interviews that I've got later on.
But we do have wrestling
coming up at
8 p.m.
8 o'clock tonight
on the YouTubes.
Yep.
So make sure to tune in for wrestling. We got some great wrestling news. Hopefully that'll be super fun. That's not a touchscreen. That's a TV show.
You guys can't see it, but Joe's trying to swipe things on the screen like Minority Report style.
But yeah, I think that'll about wrap it up. Daniel, anything to say?
A lost man.
You have any questions, comments, confessions?
Tell us your deepest, darkest secret,
no,
Daniel.
Not at all. But question, is Joe literally just wandering around touching screens?
Yeah.
Is that what's happening in the studio right now?
It's kind of like the worst thing for COVID, but that's okay. You're safe here. Everything is clean. And we will be seeing you next week. Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone.
Bye-bye.
It's not my Minority Report.